Hi, thanks for joining me on Jenny's Two Pennies, where I give you my 2 cents worth of stuff, and hopefully over time, 2 cents here and 2 cents there will add up to be something meaningful. I'm doing a series on the fruits of the Spirit, and my last video was just a quick introduction. So today I'm going to talk about love, which is the first fruit that is spoken about in Galatians 5. And this one was kind of hard because there's so much in the Bible about love. But um, the main thing I think is that love encompasses a whole bunch of the other fruits. Like love is the main thing. Even in Romans 13. Oh, my nose itches. Yeah, I know. You probably think it's because of my hair. In Romans chapter 13, Paul says for us not to owe anybody anything but to love one another. That, thou shalt not kill, and you shouldn't commit adultery or bear false witness or envy or I can't remember. It seemed like he listed something else, but all of those things are encompassed in you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And he says that love is the fulfillment of the law. So basically, if you follow that, then everything else kind of falls into place. And it also, in John, it's actually in First John, like toward the end of the Bible, right before the book of Revelation. He says, let us love one another because love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. And he who does not love does not know God, for God is love. And it says something else. If we say we know God, but we don't love our brother, then we're lying to ourselves. And it says, if any man love the world, then the love of the Father is not in him. It also says that perfect love casts out fear, and that showing love is keeping God's commandments, and that the commandments are not grievous. I think that's really important, because if you believe that someone loves you and would do anything for you, then it is really easy to do anything they ask you to do. It doesn't grieve you. It's not like, ugh, fine, at all. If the love of God is growing and flowing in us, then anything he asks is easy, because we're so sure of how much he loves us. And the more we get to know him, the more sure we are of his love for us. And so the easier it is to do things. But not only that, he's the one that produces the ability to do it. He created us to be able to do all these things, but we got so corrupted. And so as his love grows in us, then we just fill up and overflow, and we produce fruit that everyone can just freely pick and consume. Really, really have to keep in mind that love is a being. Love is God. It's his character. It's the embodiment of him. It's not a thing that we do. It's not a thing we obtain. It's not a thing that sourced in us. Yes, we feel it. It is a feeling, but sometimes we mistake other things for love. When we feel good, sometimes we just think it's love, but Love is God, and love is big. And his spirit coming in and making us alive and making us clean and making us full of his love, that's what changes us. That's what gives us something to offer um, to others and back to him. Um, all the characteristics of love are in 1 Corinthians 13, and a lot of people use them in their wedding vows and that kind of thing. But those characteristics aren't something that can really be practiced effectively between two people. They are something that has to start with God. Way that just in observing how God is throughout the Bible and just throughout my life, is that everything just flows. Like he flows his love to us, and then it just kind of goes back to him, and it just flows everywhere. And it says that he is a fountain of living water, and his love is like that. It just builds up, and it just always flowing. And so, like I mentioned in my last video, in the book of Jeremiah, he talks about how if you put your trust in man, cursed is someone who puts their trust in man. But if you put your trust in God, if you trust only in the Lord, then you're going to be like a tree that's planted by the river, and you'll always have green leaves, and you'll always produce fruit, and even if there's a drought. So if that's true, then we should always be producing fruit if we're connected to him, if we put our trust in him. And the only way we can do that is by receiving his love, by getting to know him and knowing how much he loves you. And honestly, if you read the Bible and if you pray, then you are really going to experience the love of God, and it is going to grow. It's going to grow till sometimes you can't do anything but cry. Here I go. Because it's overwhelming. Honestly say that sometimes my heart is so full that I don't even know how to express in words. Explain, but I feel so loved. But I know I'm so loved. I know it so well. But there aren't words. Like, it's beyond anything that human experience can give. And I think that's why so many times people who don't know God that well think that Christians are kind of crazy. But it's because we're crazy in love, because it is so big. And I think more than anything, I would just say about love is that if you read 1 Corinthians and you read the characteristics of what love is, that is a way for you to know God more, for you to know that that's what God is like. He is patient. He is kind. Through him, we're able to reciprocate that back to him, and it can flow out to one another. But this is not a way for you to try to take pointers as to how to behave, because that just is not going to work. It doesn't. What works is if we evaluate ourselves truthfully and say, do I feel this way about God? Do I believe these things? Do I believe he's patient? Do I believe he's kind? Do I believe that he has really forgiven me for everything? do I believe that partially, and it just needs to grow more. And so if you would just read the Bible and pray and ask God to show you how much He loves you, I guarantee you it will grow. And to know if other people know God, and if, you know, if they have love for the Lord, and for you. And I will go so far as to say, if they don't have love for the Lord, they can't really love you. If they don't have the Lord's love inside, if they don't know God, then they can't really love you. Have it a little bit about love. Next time, I'm going to talk about joy. And so tune in for that one. And in the meantime, have a great day. I love you.